Another edition of X Feed. Right off the rip, I'm wanting to talk about the fact that I post these all the time about looking for a fifth for League of Legends, and I very, very rarely find anyone. And it's making me think, does anybody in Web3 even game? A common trend I've seen is people that are in a certain NFT collection. We'll use Fluff World as an example, and they've been dropped these Third Kingdom land pieces, and they say, well, I'm not a gamer. I don't know how any of this works. And it makes me think, how many others are in that exact same boat, trying to convert? We'll see if it happens. Our partnerships shine. Speaking of Futureverse and Fluff World a moment ago, we have highlighted how Tencent was involved with them, and I saw Tencent again brought up here for this Dark Machine, Immutable, Eek, Sui, a lot of other big names within here. Dark Machine sees the dark. We have 56,000 followers. Yesterday, we kind of talked a little bit about Mutable and asking, hey, where are these games that are going to really take over? And this potentially might be one of them if you've not seen it. Tolly, good morning. Good morning. We are excited to announce the Dark Machine has secured over 8.7 million total from our distinguished investors. Over the next few months, we can't wait to share our vision for the Dark Machine game, decentralized competitive tournaments, and so much more. Kind of interesting to see. Again, 8.7 million. How does that make you think comparatively to a lot of the other collections that are out there? Is that a lot? Is that a little? What is going on? If you're enjoying this video, of course, if you give me a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. Now, this is in Toronto, the TTC. Look at all the people. Now, the train was down, and all these people were waiting for a bus, and I just thought, damn, I would hate waiting with all of that. That seems absolutely chaotic, and it just makes me think, damn, I am excited for the metaverse where we don't have to deal with claustrophobic crowds. Breaking, the United States has blocked a Chinese-backed crypto miner from owning land near a Wyoming nuclear missile base. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Cyberkongs, apparently they're the top collection across the space in terms of engagement. I don't understand how in the halibut, you know, like a little bit of a fish here and there, this works, but apparently Cyberkongs is first with Bored Ape Yacht Club behind it, and this is people using them as their profile photo. I don't know how they scour X to figure out how people are using that exact PFP. Because before there was that, hey, this is an NFT. Do you remember the time that we had the Octagon? Now it's gone. Aries 1. Good. Meow. Warning to you as well. Pudgy Penguins and then Artifact. Interesting to see Artifact there below Pudgy. Azuki ahead of them. Trevor saying 4 mints dropping in the next 4 to 6 weeks. This is going to get crazy. That's for people out here in the root world. And speaking of root, another cool little thing here from Aaron McDonald regarding consensus, highlighting the Readyverse and a portal, not immortal, here for Gen Music AI. A lot of people questioning about what they are going to highlight regarding Gen, and it does look like this is fairly high graphical settings, and it does look like it's in an Atom garage potentially, so something to keep an eye on for that. Now, do you think a lot of people are charging an insane amount for NFTs? Well, what about the content creators and people trying to highlight these different projects? Ghost here saying, I just got quoted near $20,000. $20,000. Holy jeez. Harry Swan, imagine we had $20,000. Do you know how many shacaronis that buy, bud? For one 60-second video review on Planet X. That just sounds like it's fake. Like 60 seconds for 20K? Get the frig out of here. Some Web3 key opinion leaders are actually moving mad and just really mug some people off. I will give this away as prize money to my community in hunts where they have to share to gain entry. Organic always wins. Now, the question with this is, okay, we're going for the organic thing. We're going to give out $20,000. We're trying to reach out for them. Is there any sense of this being engagement farming? I don't think so. But at the same time, just to know that theoretically somebody's charging $20,000 is insane for 60 seconds. GameStop, obviously GME, if you haven't seen, the stock has been going wild. It's been halted a ton of times, which shows what the hell is going on with the market. But Pudgy toys are now available in GameStop. Again, one of the ones that is getting most recognized across the Web3 brands in terms of a mainstay. This is potentially getting that heebie-jeebies from people about NFTs, being like, hey, this is kind of cool. There There was a video from Luca Nets where if you buy these toys, you can scan a code and you get kind of brought on chain from it. We'll see what those numbers look like if they get published, but kind of cool to see that on the timeline. And apparently, they've also sold over 1 million of those toys and extends the distribution network to Target retail. So not only do we have GameStop, we now have Target, and they've sold over 1 million. Sheesh. Now, quick little note here from RWA World, and if you guys go and check down in the description below, if you're on YouTube or if you just search it on your various platforms, RWA segments. It's spelled differently for the segments, but I'm doing a podcast that's talking about real world assets. We're talking with some of the experts. Of course, it's not me yapping away. Don't worry, none of that. But if you're wanting to check that out and see about the narratives, whether they're legit or kind of, flabbergasted in a way. Making me think of Flabbercake Keith, if you remember that, a wonderful human. And they're highlighting here about the green world assets. And the other day I saw some ridiculous video about how like 9% of garbage actually gets recycled. And there was some expose in Canada where somebody put a tracker in a bunch of recycling and it got put to like an incinerator facility. And I'm like, damn, these things are kind of wild. But at the same time, with these different real world assets going on chain, if there is a environmental angle, that's something we could see very much here. And they're highlighting how green world assets are a major trend with tokenization focused on protecting the Earth's resources. Built on Near Protocol and boasting over 80 projects registered on their platform, Open Forest Protocol, first time hearing about that, is a clear leader in regenerative finance and sustainability. Expecting a ton of different protocols coming out regarding the green world. Now, if you've ever heard of a scam, which is absolutely everybody, there's a lot of different people trying to help with that, from Wallet Guard to apparently this thing called Scam Sniffer. And they had an article that I thought was kind of cool. And there was a specific point in here that I wanted to highlight, if I can try to find it right quick. So for different phishing activities, just as a TLDR, and again, you're probably familiar with this, but if you're not, from X, if people get hacked, there's SIM swap, malicious third-party applications, spam comments, and mentions. This one is pretty much the main one that I've seen, where people read a tweet and they're like, oh, there is a mint or something exciting coming up, and they see a comment that's from a fake account, but it's got a ton of engagement. They click on it, their whole wallet gets drained. On Discord, when people get hacked, they highlight a scam and they @ everybody. Sometimes if people aren't expecting a mint, they freak out and don't use their head and think, hey, this might be a scam. Obviously, there's airdrops as well. A lot of us, especially if you use Ethereum, have gotten a ton of that in your wallet. And then this is a massive one. The scam ads on Google search and Twitter ads. The Twitter ads we see all the time, but Google search, I remember for Guild of Guardians, when I searched that like 2 years ago, there was a sponsored one, and the G and the O at a different point was like swapped. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is a scam. So always be on your best behavior and think with your noggin, because you, yes, you are a smarty. Ondo Finance, talking a little bit about RWAs. This seems to be a huge narrative that people are highlighting. Currently, commercial bank money, wholesale central bank money, and securities such as investment-grade debt all reside on separate systems. But once these assets are turned into tokens that run on a distributed ledger that can allow for settlement on the same system, wag me, you know what I mean? But MasterCard, JP Morgan, and 9 other participants announced the Regulated Settlement Network, POC, that will simulate settlement of different tokenized assets on a common digital ledger. So again, Ondo Finance, if you've not seen it, institutional grade finance, but it's on chain and for everyone. Within the root world, again, apparently Otto, I think, is trying to go for this angle for this, but again, this one's got 200,000 followers, so if you see it across the timeline, you might see Ondo. One of the single most important places for crypto people to concentrate attention is on John Deaton. Unseating Elizabeth Warren, would send shockwaves through Washington and change the tune overnight. Much easier and much more impactful than national elections too. So we're seeing, again, a lot of the pro-crypto candidates getting a lot of attention across the timeline. Okay, Psychedelics Anonymous. Haven't talked about this one too much, but you might remember it from a while ago. Apparently, they are getting acquired. Today, we are pleased to announce Zen has acquired Psychedelics Anonymous, and the brand has been moved outside of Australia. So again, Psychedelics Anonymous has helped fund some different pharmaceutical angles and just doing, psychedelics in that way. But more on it. The acquisition includes 100% ownership of the Psychedelics Anonymous brand, its intellectual property, and agreed upon brand assets and liabilities. The Saizen team has full control over the PA brand and its future direction. This is completely a fresh team with old team stepping back entirely. And this is interesting because it feels kind of large. Obviously, we had Gutter Cat Gang, we had Pudgy Penguins, where they got acquired. This is kind of the last big one that I've seen or thought, hey, that's rather large acquisition. But both sides have also worked on this brand deal for a number of months, ensuring the best interests. All right, so if you're in Psychedelics Anonymous, a little bit of a shakeup. Now, apparently, Wolfgame is doing a free claim that is of these golden sheep. So if you are on Blast paying attention, be aware that you are able to get this sheep soon. Grail Grab Pixelmon selling for 19.95 ETH. Guys, what is going with Pixelmon? I keep seeing huge sales on my timeline, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And it's weird. And it kind of goes back to my earlier point about asking how many people do you know that are gamers within Web3? And I think that, within my personal group, there's a lot of people within the Discord from Marvel Snap, Fortnite. A lot of them are into it. I've not seen many people play League of Legends across the space. I found maybe 10-ish, which is crazy because I follow like a lot of people. And I would think that it would pop up my timeline a little bit more. Now, I've seen massive streamers talk about crypto, but this whole blockchain gaming angle, people are dumping a ton of money on these games before they're even out. Is that going to age well? I don't know. This is kind of interesting if you're Ontario. Absolutely nothing to do with crypto, but apparently if you steal a car, you can lose your driver's license for life under new Ontario proposal. Again, the world's doing some crazy things on the news every single day, and nice. Yeah, listen, if you're trying to steal my car, you can get the hell out of here, bro. True. Another absolute nuke on Blastopians, man. The Blast, we get the Mooners, and then the absolute dumpers. Hundreds dumped into bids in one swing. The pump and dump dynamics on Blur on Blast are unsurprisingly a bit out of control. Holy sweet mother of pearl. Look at the dumpage. Jeez, I didn't know we were going to take out the garbage today, but apparently we are. Okay, now speaking of weird things within the world, as we just mentioned, in San Francisco, apparently a bunch of people are cutting off the Tesla supercharger cables to sell the copper. Doesn't the metaverse, listen, we got crazy amounts of people trying to take the bus and get around, claustrophobic things. People are stealing cars, and now they're stealing the chargers for the car. I'm just going to stay inside and enjoy the metaverse. Thank you very much. Now, other page here, if you're wanting to check it out, it is a really cool website that has some different stats, and you can kind of personalize, flex things a little bit. But today they had the Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult team member, one of them on there in Bear Snake, and wow, this guy was going on about, watch out, things are coming, it's coming down the pipeline, you have to get all these things right. Some of the best music in the world can never get discovered, some of the best movies in the world never actually get to the full stage, yada, 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 and he just went off on the exciting things to come, and it feels like that is the momentum building up across a couple of different projects. Is this all just hype? Is this going to actually come to fruition? I have no idea, but damn, people are freaking bullish, my guy. Just in GameStop and AMC Entertainment stocks halted 34 times combined today. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but 34 times this got halted. We did see something where Bill Noble posted that one of the big entities potentially had a short position on GME, and now they're apparently going to have to disclose some things. It's getting spicy. Imagine these big corporations had a short on that and got monumentally wrecked. Holy smokes. Ryan Adams here saying this is a sad day for the Netherlands. It's a sad day for the founding principles of open societies and Western liberal democracies. Today, crypto privacy developer Alexei Pertezev was sentenced to 5 years in prison by Netherlands court for developing an open source tool that allows people to keep their crypto transactions private. Today, they made privacy illegal in the EU country. You think I'm overstating this? Then tell me, what is the legal way to keep peer-to-peer crypto transactions private? We have HTTPS for email and internet messages. What's the equivalent for crypto, and who's building it? It doesn't exist because they're putting our devs in jail. What an absolute world we live in. My goodness. Trader Pops, how are we doing? I got a bag of GME, not doing bad. Yo, not doing bad at all. This man is ready to order some Papa John's tonight. Love to see it. So this is interesting, and it talks a little bit about Illuvium. So 50 Illuvium token at the all-time high is over, what is this, 200,000 US. And 50 Illuvium today is roughly 4,000 US. Is this a discount for what is objectively the industry-leading AAA Web3 game right now? So I would go on the argument that when we had the run-up previously, there was a lot of tokens that just didn't have much of the supply out there, and so the token went to unbelievable heights. And this is a vast majority of the gaming gaming tokens that are out there. And so when we talk about these things, I mean, maybe there's a chance that they get to the heights that they were if like the moon happens within the next week. But we have to remember the token supply that's going out. If we think of Ape, the massive amount of price, or sorry, just like the market cap to begin with, was insanity. But over the past year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, we have had the slow drip of ApeCoin going out into the wild, and that is kind of saturating things. And so for it to get to that same market cap and price, I mean, you'd have to put some pretty freaking significant capital into it. And I think a lot of people aren't realizing this. So yeah, I get it. Use the all-time highs previously, but we also have to think of the tokenomics vastly being different comparatively to what it was before. Now, if you were going to buy a pen, just an NFT pen, you'd probably be like, I don't care, shill. Why would I spend $50 on an NFT pen? Well, because you would, potentially, if it's IP that you care about. So Disney Pinnacle, Pixar, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff, it seems that it's constantly on the timeline again and again. OGK here saying it's not too late to get into Disney Pinnacle, but if you take more than 53 minutes, you might miss stuff. And this was at 3:07 p.m. Currently, it's 8:23, so we absolutely missed it. But back to the point, I think the IP is going to play an integral part as we move forward for these different collections. And I used to be extraordinarily bullish on Web3 homegrown brands, and I don't know if I still am to the extent that I was, because we've seen so many things that initially got traction that ended up kind of falling to the wayside. Now, there's a lot of the big ones that are still around that have done phenomenally well and will kind of garner that interest. But if I was going to ask you, hey, would you be interested in buying something that's CyberKongz related, Bored Ape related, Futureverse related, Axie Infinity related, how many of those would you personally be like, oh yes, like I'm down to buy it, versus if I said, hey, do you want Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Shark Tale? Yo, Shark Tale's a banger of a movie, right? Versus those things. Now, obviously, those ones are kind of within the mass adoption realm, but I think that you can kind of get the idea of what we're going through here. Harry Swan, LOL, it'll be back. It's a rolling storefront. Okay, W. Updates like every 6 hours. Okay, listen, Harry Swan's the man with the pens. We gotta go check out his digital collection. And you know what's great about that? We don't have to go to his house. We can just go to a URL where it links, and we can say Harry Swan is a Disney pen whale. Now, checking out some different marketplaces here. Who the hell hires these people for social? So, bullish on blank, fill in the blank. Okay, now 10,000 views, Rarible here. Listen, I don't want to be funny or anything, but oh my goodness, 636,000 followers. I don't know a single person that uses Rarible, right? And so we go along, and then, okay, we have X2Y2, who's saying, good morning, legends. You guys are legends. I'm Tolly, Harry, Trader Pops, everybody watching. True, factual. But Rise and Grind, happy Monday. I have 1,000 ones on that. This is X2Y2, 84,000 followers, significantly smaller. I don't know a single person that uses X2Y2. I think there was a point where this was like the only platform that allowed you to buy some of the Yuga assets, which, you know, got some traction for that. But again, I just don't know anybody using it. And then for Pallet Exchange here, it's completely different, but wanting to go check out the market, just a little quick gander so you guys can see what's going on within the Say ecosystem. We've done a couple of check-ins here and there, but we bump $180 alive, 111, 212 cappies, 20. What the hell is a cappy? Is this a capybara? What in the halibut are we looking at? That's, Yo, NFTs are great. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Dobbs are at $86, 112 for the Saiyans. Volume for the 24 hours, $500, $1,500, $1,300, 500, 500, 500, 400. Not a whole lot of traction that's going on within Say right now, but again, at a point, this was getting a ton of attention, and so does the cycles come back? Are people now focused on the tokens? What is going on? And listen, that's it for this edition of X Feed. We're keeping it sweet, short, simple, and to the point on this 20-minute banger, banger, banger. Now, I want to highlight again, for tomorrow, we've got some juicers. I went back in history, and I found some NFT collections that you forgot about that existed. Obviously, almost 99% of them didn't work, but I'll say one of the names. Do you remember Voxadeus? Going to look at what their last post was, what was going on. I remember Danny Ukes. He won a prize from like Voxy Tactics. And he was like, I don't want Voxadeus. And then him and the founder of Voxadeus were just beefing on the timeline. And it was content. Once again, if you're wanting to hear more of just some interesting things regarding real-world assets, if you check the description here on YouTube, RWA segments, again, it's spelled a little bit differently. Would love for you guys to check that out. And, of course, if you just want to see some of the other streams, be sure to check out the recent live feed. I appreciate